And your micro is off. We can't hear you.
I muted myself. Welcome. I love you all. Very much. Please stay with me. I need the company. I want to level with you today, totally. I was with Robert in Los Angeles for 6 years until 1995 when he left, went to Sedona. Just after he left, I had my awakening experience, so to speak. It's on my website, where I discovered that I was separate from consciousness and consciousness came to me. And I also realized that consciousness itself was just a story. That what I was beyond consciousness. And for 15 years, I stayed in this sort of wasteland of not being involved in consciousness or life, just sitting, watching everything, except when forced to by circumstances to do something. I wanted to also tell you that Robert was a great, great teacher. Most authentically realized person I've ever known. But he couldn't draw people. I think the biggest crowds he ever drew in person was maybe 35. And that's as he was winding up his career and about to leave for Sedona. The reason is the way of self-inquiry is rather dry. It's easy to get lost practicing self-inquiry, to find the I and stay focused on the I. My first realization was that the word I was empty. It did not really point anywhere. I think all of us believe we're something more than just our body, more than just consciousness. We have this idea that we have a life living, we have a spouse, we have children, we have a job, and we're people. And as such, we believe the peoplehood in us is alive and well, sort of as an entity. We feel about ourselves, we think about ourselves, we say, I did this, I did that, I feel this, I feel that. So the word I makes the I real. And we assume that there is an I in us, but there ain't. And therefore, Robert began every satsang with the statement, you don't exist. You don't exist. You're not real. Your body's not real. It's like an optical illusion. The world is not real. You're living in a dream. Awake from that dream. He's saying the whole world is not real. Pay no attention to it. If it attacks you, ignore it. If it tries to draw your attention, ignore it. If it presents you with problems such as paying rent or getting through school, ignore it. I was about to take my test to be a psychologist, licensed psychologist in California. And it would take months of study because the body of knowledge that you have to absorb is the broad breadth of psychology, which is a very broad field. It's not just psychotherapy. It's clinical psychology, it's child psychology, it's school psychology, it's industrial psychology. And it would take 6 months. And I said, Robert, I have to take a leave of absence to study for my exams. And he said, don't. Stay by me. Stay by me. And that's exactly what I did. I stayed by him. And I didn't take the tests. I never became a psychologist. And I stayed by him for 6 years until he left. And even after that, I visited him up there. Even after I had this realization, he wanted me to stay with him up there. But I couldn't. Circumstances didn't allow it. And he died soon after he got up there, within 14 months. And then I sat for 15 years like this every day, just looking inside, feeling the emptiness, feeling the deadness of having no excitement, no reason to live, no reason to die either. Consciousness was just a circus, and you could pay attention to it or not. And I kept looking for something deeper than consciousness, knowing that I was deeper than consciousness, but I didn't know that you couldn't witness it. So Robert never had more than 35 people. Because of what he was teaching would only be grasped by 1 out of 100,000 or 1,000,000. It's a very narrow path, requires extreme perseverance. It has no electricity, no excitement, no love. It's just digging in deeper and deeper and finding your roots, finding the source of the I feeling, the I thought. And while Robert had 35 people coming to satsang, when I had gone to Muktananda's satsang years before, when he was in Los Angeles, thousands of people came. The tent could accommodate, I think, 1,100 people. And there are another 400 or 500 people outside at the nearby hotel and ashram that had been taken over and relayed by video and sound. Probably around the world, another 50,000 or more attended the satsangs. when I was in Muktananda's satsangs. I was just overwhelmed by Shakti. The whole tent, the whole ashram was surrounded by such sweet and powerful energy. You could feel it like a dynamo, a generator, constantly spurring out energies, Shakti. It was so palpable. I didn't think much of Muktananda at all, but there was the ashram, the Shakti at the ashram, hearing the chants around mealtime and in the evening, doing chanting in the morning in groups, listening to talks, going to the programs at night where Muktananda was and all of the Swamis. It was like the biggest circus on earth, but a spiritual circus. It was entertainment, but it was the highest form of entertainment, of devotion, love, surrender to the Guru and to the Shakti. This was in 1980 or 81 when he was in Los Angeles for 6 months, and then he left. And I continued in Siddha Yoga until I met Robert, 1989, who took me back to my Zen roots of introspection, going within to find the I. And once again, I began dying. There was no interest in the outside world. Then I noticed too, or remembered, that in Robert's satsang, so many people got sick with fatal diseases. A few even committed suicide in the brief 6 years that I was there. If you miss the path even by a hair, you can die from boredom. You can die from getting lost in nothingness, getting lost in the void, getting lost in thoughts about the self and the dryness, and you can feel your innards drying up. If you miss what Robert is teaching, even by a hair. What Robert is teaching has several levels. On the surface, it was a rescue spirituality for people who were suffering. He told them, "You're all right as you are. Ignore your body and the problems of your body. Ignore your illnesses. Ignore your pain. Ignore the problems that your spouse is presenting to you and your children. Ignore the fact that your job is dead end and stupid. Just be happy. Know that everything is unfolding as it should, and you're perfect as you are." This is nothing but happy think, positive thinking. Everything is perfect. Be happy. You don't have any problems, or ignore them. On a deeper level, he tells you to go inside and ignore the world. Those who can do that and find the I sensation and focus on the feeling of the I sensation rather than on the I thought or where the I points to, and it points to emptiness, to the void. If you can avoid just staring into the void and instead feel the I, you can make some progress. But if you miss that, even by a hair, you could end up dried up, a dried up old fart who never got anywhere. Then in 2010, I fell in love with one of my students. We had a great romantic love affair, no sex, but a yearning for it, separated by almost 2,000 miles. We talked all the time. I loved her, I worshiped her, I surrendered to her, and she did the same to me. And we both found God in, for me, a tremendous experience of light and power and liberation. And since that day, I have felt the life force constantly in me as my spirit, as my elder brother, as my guide, my lover, and as myself. And the thing is, this divine center of mine is me. But me is totally in consciousness. There is still that which is beyond consciousness that Robert would have us find. And it becomes even more obvious after you find God inside yourself, that you're witnessing God and speaking to God, and you're separate from God. And in a sense, you're the unknown, you're the unborn, you're not of this world, speaking to God within consciousness and to other people within consciousness. But it's almost so ironic that you have to discover God inside of yourself before you truly realize that that which is you is not in consciousness, but outside of it, playing in consciousness. When you become filled with Shakti, filled with the love of God, filled with being loved by God or by another person, so that for the first time in your life, you feel totally accepted and loved. All the hurts of your childhood are blown away because finally, mom and pop love you deeply. You feel received of the deepest love possible that you can only imagine. The kind of deep love you think you can have for others and wonder why they don't return it. Because not many people are capable of this deepest kind of surrendered love. It's as alien to them as being able to find the unborn self within. It requires a special kind of person that can throw themselves away at the feet of another, at the feet of their guru, at the feet of their beloved, at the feet of their mate, their soulmate, at the feet of a cat you worship. If they sit on a chair, You just want to fall to the ground, kiss their feet, lick their toes, and feel profound delight and profound love in expressing your surrender to them. And the Shakti fills you unbelievably with grace, with aliveness, and a complete identity with the life force within you. You become the life force. You identify with the life force, and you're fully alive every moment of the day, even when you don't move, when you sit quietly. The life force is you. You're supremely happy. And you don't feel at complete rest because you feel like doing something. You feel like worshiping. You feel like loving. You feel like expressing love. You feel like writing. You feel like singing. You feel like dancing. And Shakti moves for you so gracefully. It makes every one of your moves so graceful. Every one of your words becomes golden. And when you move, the world moves with you. They feel your grasp of God within and the expression of God within. They feel moved by you. They feel Shakti around you. They want to touch you and hold you. They want to surrender to you just as you have surrendered to God, to Guru, or your beloved. You become a kindler of the heart flame in others. Just like the song Jota Sajota. Kindle my heart flame with thy flame, O Sadhguru. Kindle my heart's flame with thine. O Lord of Yoga, Lord of the universe, kindle my heart's flame with thine. Kindle my heart's flame with thine. Kindle my heart's flame with thine. O God, I surrender to you. Fill me with life and help all people in the world to accomplish whatever they want to make them happy. Let them feel thy grace inside of you as I have, and the bliss of being touched by you, O God, to feel your kiss, to be able to have all people feel the kiss of God, the gentle caress which washes through them like an electric storm of bliss. And bliss settles over them, and they feel utterly happy, filled with grace, feeling the divine golden light descending of grace that washes away all their sins. But you have to be able to love in that way. You have to be able to find that God that you love, that person you love, that guru you love, whether it's Jesus Christ, Buddha, Robert, Muzika, or anybody else out there. Rolf, Enrique, Spencer, all of you can be gods if you just worship another as God. Learn how to worship, learn how to surrender. And then instead of having 35 people come to you, thousands will come, being lit by your light, feeling your Shakti. Let us sit in peace for a few minutes, in quietness. Feel the Shakti. Feel it around your heart. Feel it in your forehead at the third eye. Feel it in your gut. Feel Shakti all around you, flowing in currents, turning, turning, turning and flowing, and turning and upwards inside of you.